Yep, gonna finally review this. Hello everyone, this is Foxcat, and welcome to the review of Pokemon Snap, or Pokemon New Snap. Let me just double check here. What does it called again? Yeah, New Pokemon Snap. I guess, I don't know. Okay, so pretty much, to be honest, the best way to start this is to say that, honestly, as we all know, I'm a big fan of Pokemon. For heck, I'm wearing a Pokemon shirt. I have tons of Pokemon stuff, to say the least. And we all know, of course, literally am a big fan. However, what many people don't know is, and I kind of have said this, I think I have said this before, but just to clarify, I started with the Pokemon cards. In fact, that's the reason why, whenever I truly get a chance, I will always do a unboxing of Pokemon cards. Rarely, not many times, but I figure I might need to start doing that again because those are fun. But really, I do like the Pokemon cards. Another thing that many people may not know, though, is when it comes to the actual video games, believe it or not, my very first Pokemon game was not actually a mainline series Pokemon game. My very first Pokemon game would be literally Pokemon Rumble Blast for the 3DS. Wait, unfortunately, I don't have the game, and I still don't have the game, so it's probably going to be too late to get the game because of the whole eShop thing, and also it's rare, so I don't know. Hey, at least I still have Pokemon Y. But of course, I slowly did get into the mainline series later on. But of course, as we all know, I do play a bunch of spin-offs. Like in the past, I showed off Pokken Tournament, which is actually, to my opinion, my favorite out of the spin-offs because it's literally a Pokemon fighting game. And admittedly, I'm starting to get into that, as many people could tell, a lot. Just playing normal fighting games. I never thought I got into that. And there have been others, like Pokemon puzzles, like Pokemon Trolley. And of course, there's like even the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games, which I also lost, but I still think they're kind of good. And of course, I haven't done the recent remake one. I do have the game, but I have yet to truly play it, so I guess maybe that'll be the next thing I need to play. I don't know. But the point is, the reason why I'm bringing all this up is because that is literally how I started into Pokemon. Don't get me wrong, I do play the mainline series, of course. We all see that even on my channel recently, although I need to figure out how to get back onto that thing. But we all know that's how I started. Which I don't mind, because it kind of did form to what type of Pokemon fan I am today. Because I am like the super casual, I don't care about any kind of controversy crap fan of Pokemon. I don't care about the whole thing about what's going on with the Pokemon decks. I mean, hell, I just released I'm starting a brand new series involving the word Dexit, if we all know where that came from, which is actually kind of really the pun of those free characters. And literally, I have an open mind towards Pokemon. Even though now then, again, I can start to see people's point of how the series has somewhat a lot declined, especially with Scarlet and Violet, because we can't deny all those fucking glitches, even though I will say it's still a good game, because they didn't really took all the time they need to fix that thing, which is actually now starting to show, actually. Many thought Pokemon Sword and Shield was bad. Dude, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, with the glitches, was really bad, to say the least, which, yeah, that's when you start to notice the problems. However, as stated, today we're not talking about either that. We're talking about a spin-off game that is kind of mixed on me. Because on one hand, I will admit, it's a good game. On the other hand, I don't know what to say about it. Because here's the thing, I dropped the game like a couple of months ago, got back into it, dropped it again a couple of months ago, and just now I just finally finished it. And that was because I was stuck in a roadblock, which I'll get into in a bit, but even then, that roadblock was super confusing. And I do mean it, because when it comes to Pokemon Snap in general, and of course this brand new remake, which will just be focused on the remake, Pokemon Snap is an interesting spin-off of the Pokemon series. This is because, especially also in the old game, the content is the fact that you take pictures of Pokemon rather than literally fighting with Pokemon. And of course, there has been a few spin-offs of Pokemon Pokemon games that aren't literally like the Pokemon games. Like for freaking fuck's sake, there's literally a Pokédex thing on the actual 3DS, a official Pokédex thing. Look, I'm surprised they never updated that after Gen 5. You would think they would keep up to date. I don't know. Maybe in the future we'll get the next Pokédex Switch. I don't know. I think that's probably needed. And even then, if you count homes, then that's a problem. A lot problem. But Pokemon Snap, and of course mainly the new one, I need to make that clear. New Snap. Again, it's kind of a mix for me, but not in a bad way. I want to clarify this game is pretty good. Towards different type of people. And I do mean it, because Pokemon Snap is a very interesting game. Like I said, the main goal of the game is you take pictures of Pokemon, and of course explore the area. The further you go through your exploration and try out new things, and the more you unlock a few things, you get more areas and you get more of the story. And there is a story to say, but even then the story is, it's a spin-off, so usually spin-off stories are not very well written, or well executed. Hell, even Pokemon Tournament, despite somewhat being moderate decent, is not a great story, especially with the fucking voice acting. This is a little bit different. It's fine, but it's definitely more smaller than compared to any other Pokemon series story plot lines I ever had. Which makes sense because of the general fact that this is literally a spin-off about taking pictures of Pokemon. And there's some good points in that game, and there was really good stuff. But the way of the execution of the story, it could be a little bit bland. Not in a bad way. It's probably just not was for me, because I will admit, at the halfway point, I was like, oh my god, I'm skipping through everything. I got some of the general story, because the story is, without going into too many spoilers, the story is you're helping this new professor, which professor name is kind of cool, Professor Mirror. That's literally his name, which is a very interesting name, but understandable. Pretty much the theme of photos, I guess. I don't know how mirror works, but there is a mirror mode on cameras. I'm probably using one right now to talk to you all, but I don't know. But anyways, back to the point. There is literally a professor who's trying to figure out this new species of Pokemon. These big, giant Pokemon known as the Illumination Pokemon. I think that's how they're pronounced. And all you have to do is take pictures of these Pokemon. And admittedly, as I'll also kind of show later on, because I actually saved some videos I'm going to post later on the channel. You know, those short minute videos. The introductions to them, and of course some of the story plot lines and even the cutscenes are well executed. But that's only because one of the best positive things about this game is this is definitely one of the best looking Pokemon spin-offs, even rivaling that of Pokemon Tournament. If I had to compare the two, actually, one step further, I'll actually say Pokemon New Snap is better than Pokemon Tournament. Mostly because it does go more in line with the more cartoony and abstract art towards of the normally seen in Pokemon than the try to go to realistic mode with Pokemon Tournament. Either way, your object is to find the Pokemon, and the way you do that is you advance through the story. So how do you advance through the story? Well, first, let's kind of talk about the details of the game. Like I said, the object of the game is take pictures at the best moment. Pretty much just take a picture of a Pokemon, kind of interact with it with apples, and later on orbs where you make it glow. Yes, I know I'm butchering the crap out of it, but I'm also literally being honest. And there's also like this music thing, which I guess kind of worked, but they never utilize it well in the gameplay. And that's kind of it. There's like not much else. You do have to scan things. I'll get to that in a bit. But for the most part, it's all fine, but the gameplay itself, already right at the back, is where my first major problem could be for most people. This game, I need to clarify, is extremely slow paced. Like, even more so than possibly even Animal Crossing, which is jokingly saying something. I mean, I could be wrong with that statement, but that's my opinion, so it's an opinion statement. But I'm saying that clearly because it is very slow. You really have to take your time with this game. And it's not slow as in you're reading stuff or kind of like Animal Crossing when you have to do stuff or Minecraft. No, we're talking about literally you're in a freaking car, you're moving very slowly, and it's like literally you're in that freaking, like that old zoo thing where you go to the zoo and you go into a bus and you see animals. That's literally how slow this thing we're talking about here. Which makes sense, you need time and patience for this game, but there are other literally people who just want to get through a game and have fun with it. This is definitely a game that has fun, and I had fun with it, but is it the correct type of fun for most people? I don't know. It depends. It really does depend. It's really smack dab in the middle split. That's why I'm so split on it too, because I enjoyed the game, but literally, once I truly get done with everything in this game as best as I can, because it turns out there's bonus content, which surprised me, but hey, that's cool. I might truly put this game down, because to be frank, it's not like Pokken Tournament where you can just jump in no matter what section you are in the game and you can get through it. And yes, I know that's weird to say because some might say that means you might be a person who's into fast-paced games, which I will say yes. I'm kind of in mix, of course. But that's kind of also literally important to say the least because I do play sometimes slow games, depending on the thing of the game. For example, I still will sometimes play Minecraft if I feel like it. And of course, while I haven't played it in a long time, and I will admit I kind of dropped from it, I would go back to Animal Crossing if I wanted to. This game, on the other hand, even though I want to because I'm a Pokemon fan and I think it's great, I know for sure that once I even get done with this review, I might be done with this game permanently because this game is very a slow game, and it really and the action is not the action you think of. It's just you seeing Pokemon do Pokemon things, to say the least. But that's not bad. I want to point that out. That's not bad. It's just where this mixture of my opinion comes in because I don't know what to say about it. Because I know there's people who generally like it. Heck, I do like it in some way because, believe it or not, I do like art. And this is definitely a game of art. I mean, and again, and to double down on that, I'm not saying that Pokemon New Snap is like freaking Electroplankton, which I also have on my 3DS and I play. But it's definitely kind of behind it in some ways, not in a bad way. It's just it's different experience for different type of people. And it's not like even also like casual play, which could count if I'm wrong with that, which I probably am, but I don't know. But it really is a very interesting game, to say the least. And I know, and the unique part about this gameplay experience is you might be still wondering how you advance in the story. You advance through it by accomplishing multiple tasks. But the biggest task, which I did have a roadblock on a little bit, was you have to collect data involving flowers. And at night, when you finally unlock the night mode of that area, you have to take a picture of the flower glowing up. Except for the very final last one, because that'll be easy to grab. And there's so much stuff you have to do. However, the interesting part around that, though, is you also have to scan a lot and get some data on a lot of things, including even paths that you take around, which on first hand I did enjoy in somewhat. I actually did like. But they only use one specific path to have a unique flavor to the experience. The rest of it, even though it's still generally gorgeous with good designs of the area, like Trust me, there are, and there are a lot of good ideas for those designs. The downside is they only use one specific area with a unique effect towards it. The other areas are just simple. Like, it's not like. And of course, there might be one more could be counted with that, but all of them, despite though doing have some unique ideas, are really just saying to say the least. And that's not to say that's anything bad. It's just the fact that it will get boring for a person who really, you know, I don't know, don't have the time for it, to say the least. Like, this is literally just a sit down and wait for something game, to say the least. And again, it's definitely strange. It's definitely strange to say the least. But what makes this game even more interesting is the fact that, again, your main objective to move forward is to react to the environment. How you do that is dependent on what you need to do. For example, as stated, to move forward, you need to take pictures of those flowers that are glowing. You also need to literally scan a lot of things and see what's up and make sure you stay on top of it because you still are moving even while you're scanning, so you better just quickly get it. And you might even need to do some tasks as well to get that far. And you really do also need to affect the environment. And there will be some times where the environment may not fully affect around it, but it's still important to do so. And it's pretty interesting. There's a lot of interesting ways to affect the environment. I mean, the final level of the game, before the final boss, which I'll get into those details in a bit, it's pretty good with that. It took me some time because I was stuck at a little bit of a roadblock there. But after I finally figured out today, I was able to get it done today. And it was pretty much easy to say the least. So, and it's fun doing so as well. It's just, again, you just have to have a lot of patience and really think really hard of what you need to do and stuff. However, there is one more part. There are a couple other parts, of course, but there is one more major part of the gameplay, and that is the bosses. I won't go into how many bosses there are or spoil any details, truly, but the bosses are, kind of like what you expect for this type of game. You just gotta take a picture of it in a great way, is what I put it nicely. However, it's gonna be difficult because, as you might expect, not all these bosses. Well, technically, I guess only Uno boss in this game. Well, not just one, of course, but still the first one. Except, blah blah blah. They're not going to make it easy for you, and you have to do some tricks in order to get it. I only have problem with one boss, but after I figured out how to nail it, I was able to do so. But it was still troubling to do so. And the final boss of this game, I actually was able to beat it, but that was because it was a little bit way more easier than I thought. Even though it did move around a lot, just to give you a heads up warning. I don't think they meant it to be easy, but it may have been easy for me because I knew exactly what I needed to do it. And again, the boss fights are pretty much cool. They're actually kind of awesome in a way, but again, they're not like blow your mind awesome, to say the least. It depends on the person again, but still, what it's worth, it's pretty good. And there are some concepts that are used in that. But again, there's mostly are just similar. You just have to get the boss to show up or stop doing what it's doing so you can make it glow up or glow. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just, it'll take some time. And as for other things, well, for one, you can edit your photos. You can even save them. And as you saw from the thumbnail here, which, yes, those are my photos on there for proof that I actually did beat this entire game. Of course, there are proof, but still, I'll post it later. There is, in fact, the fact that you can edit your photos, and it's pretty good. To my opinion, I think it's the best part. It's probably a little sloppy in some way, but in all honesty, I think it's a great photo thing. For some reason, Pokemon seems one of the best traits from the Pokemon series is they have very good photo games in this series. And not just this, but from Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Trying to think of anything else that has photo related stuff. But I know they pretty much have that, and I think this is one of their best examples. And of course, artwork as well. They did an art academy, which is good. But in all terms aside, that's pretty much it for the gameplay. And I know what you're saying, because there are some extras I'm skipping, like there's leveling, which even then that's a little bit of a problem, because I don't know how the level scale works on that thing. Like, I get it, you gotta grow and get more Pokemon and all that, but it feels like the level scaling on that game is broken. Although it still functions, it's just meh and stuff. But honestly, I don't know, to say the least. I mean, not like I actually didn't get to max level. I did grind a lot, but that was only because, again, a roadblock came in and I thought I had to do that. Which turned out no, but you do get more Pokemon if you level up, just saying. But other than that, there's not really much to say. I mean, I'm even probably missing some details here. I know there's a scoring thing afterwards once you beat the game, but even then, I mean, there's even like online too, but I don't know. And that's the thing. I mix. I did enjoy this game, and I think it's great. If I had to give it the letter score right now, I will say AA. I'll give it an A. Probably A+. I don't know. Not a full-on S rank, but definitely A+ in some way. Because it is a good game. It's a really good game. But this is coming from, honestly, thinking of both sides of destruction here, because it's also kind of a mixed game, in my opinion. Because there are people who are enjoyed. I think the point is, this game is more towards people who are enjoying that type of gameplay. You know, people who like photoing and arts and stuff, like me. I mean, I do love art as well. And you see, I can take pictures as well. I mean, on Twitter and Facebook and all that gobbledygook. But again, it only depends on the person who's willing to see through that. In all honesty, if you're very intrigued by this game and you do like photography and Pokemon and stuff, and wants also a very slow and casual game, this game is for you for 100%. But those who are fast-paced and want action-packed games, this is not a type of game for you, to say the least. For me, like I said, I probably will drop it later, because, again, it's a very slow game. But it is still good where it is. I think it's pretty good. I think it's very good. It was executed well. And it's a great kind of remake sequel. I think this is actually also a sequel to the original 64 game. I'm not sure on that end. But I do think it's a pretty good game, to say the least. It's nothing bad with it. It's definitely for very slow-paced people who like casual games to this extent. Anyways, this has been Floxcat, and I hope you enjoyed this review. I'm snapping out of here, no pun intended. Bye.